Hi, this is Doc Williams with MachineSense. We're here today to discuss the assembly and startup of our new Series 150 and 250 FeverWarn scanner devices. And what you see, I've already taken everything out of the boxes. And what you see here is what you should get after you take everything out of the box. And I've got some tools here too. We'll talk about that in a minute. But what you should have is the sensor head with an octopus full of cables coming out of it, one post, a 4-foot post, a metal base, and a USB power supply over here. Put that back here for now. And a little bag full of hardware to mount the post and the top and the base together. What you're going to need are for sure a 7/16 socket or a wrench. I've got a nut driver here and a Phillips head screwdriver, big one. Okay, so we've got that, and I've got a pair of diagonal cutters just in case anything goes bad on me. I can cut it. So you may or may not use these. So that's what we have here. This is a standard post mount FeverWarn. This is our most common unit. We also make a couple other scenarios here. Instead of having it on a post, we make another box. It's about the size of, I don't know, a shoe box or a box of Kleenex that the sensor head mounts on, and it will also have the same connections and everything. So we're not going to do that video. So you go through this video, you'll get the idea, and you'll be able to put the other one together. The other one's going to be simpler than that. We also make a very, very simple wall mount where you just bolt the thing to the wall, and it's up to you to figure out what to do with your cables. And we'll see what to do with these cables here in a minute. So that's all the parts. Again, we got the base, we got the post, we got the head with the cables hanging out of it. We got a USB power supply, and we have a little hardware bag. Okay? So with that, let's get started. The first thing to do is find yourself a nice clean working area, like I have here, and we'll take the base and we'll mount it onto the post. Okay, I've got my hardware out of the bag. I've got 4 little 1/4-20 bolts, 4 star washers, and 4 nuts here. And before we go any further, let me note that I got a nice clean work surface here, and I know you guys got nice clean work surfaces where you are. So find one, lay this thing down horizontally like this, so this head is lying down like this with these 2 holes in this attitude. Okay, it's important because if you get this thing 90 degrees off, we'll see this in a little while. All these connectors will be sticking out the side of the thing or something, and you don't want that. You want all these connections to be in the back so guys don't trip over them, and so it's not unsightly. So anyway, lay it down like this, and this is the hardware we're going to use, and then we're going to take this guy here, and we're going to use it with the connectors. You'll see all these little ports here. Take these guys, make sure they are up. Okay, this is the power cable. Just make sure that's out of your way. And you want to take this guy like so, and we'll take these these 1/4-20 bolts. Put them through there, put one through there, and then on the back side we'll put the star washer and the nut. I won't bore you with all those details, so let's go ahead and assemble this, and I'll be right back. Okay, now we've got the base mounted to the post, and again, the end with the connectors is facing up, and this guy's lying flat on the table, and you want it that way, so we don't get the connector sticking out the side. Okay, so that's the way that goes together. And maybe I didn't mention it, the bolts go through the top, star washer, and nut on the bottom. It's a 7/16 nut. If you got to walk halfway across the building to get a wrench, that's the one you want, 7/16. Okay, so that takes care of that. Now the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and get the top mounted onto the post. All right. Now we're going to put the head onto the top of the post. Now I got 3 little pieces of 2x4 here to hold everything up, and make it a little easier for me. So if you've got something like that's about 4.5 inches, if you have something about 4.5 inches, it makes it a little easier to do this next step. So chalk that post up with something if you can, or maybe you can do it standing up, but then you've got to sort of put the screws in from the bottom. Anyway, we're going to do it this way today. Now down here on this end of the arrangement, our base, the connectors are facing up right now. So if my connectors are facing up, I want my sensor to look, and there's its little screen there. I want it to look down, okay? So remember that. I mean, it's going to cost you 5 minutes and a little bit of cursing and a couple of, taking the bolts out and putting them back in. But that's, you want the connectors up, where this is the power cord here. Connectors coming up out of that base and the face looking down, okay? So the first thing we got to do is we have to untangle all these wires here. Should be, 4 cables. And we'll talk about what cable does what when we get down to the other end. So stuff them in the pipe. And just feed them on down there. I have not had any trouble getting these guys fed through there. So if you get hung up, you're probably doing something wrong. Okay, so I got them all down in there. I'm going to rest this guy right here now, and then I'll take these 2 small screws. Take this guy, and again, the sensor looks down. The connectors are looking up, and then I'll put these 2 screws in. Now let's flip this guy around and do the bottom end. Flip it around like this, and I'm going to sit him down. So now that the face of the scanner is looking up, and we can look right down in here and see the inside of the connectors that are going to go out the bottom of this guy. Now, before I go any further, I've got some cable left over here, so I'm gonna take a loop out of that and take a little bit up. And I probably didn't mention earlier, but your hardware pack. You should also have a handful of these cable ties, small cable ties in there. So I'm going to grab one of those, cinch that guy up a little bit, and just leave a minimum here at the end. And we're going to probably tie it down a little more before we're done. But anyway, let me take it over. Okay. Now I'll cut the excess ends off. And the first thing I want to do is I want to take this female micro USB connector, which is going to supply the power up there. And you look in here, and all the way on the left-hand side, there's a little pigtail of a male with a male micro USB on the end. So I'm going to plug these guys together. Okay. So he's there. Then I'm going to take the next guy here is an Ethernet cable. I will plug him in. I'm going left to right here. That's the Ethernet cable. Now we have 2 more Type A USB cables, and we have 2 female Type A's here are the next 2 connectors. Now they can go either one. It's not important which one goes where. So just go and put either one either place. Got one in. Stick this guy in. And now I'm going to try to put another wire tie on here, neaten these cables up and keep them from hanging out the base unit. So I'll put another one there somewhere. Cut the loose end. Okay, so your basic scanner is now put together, and we're ready to apply power and make our first test. Okay, so let's put some power on this thing and see if it works. All right, now I've got the unit set up next to me, and we're going to put power on it and make sure it works. So I've taken and uncoiled the power cable that's hanging out of the base. I'll plug that USB Type A into one of these 2 slots on this power supply that you should have gotten with the unit. And we'll plug that into 110. And as soon as we plug that in, you'll see that this screen will light up sort of gray-blue, but that just tells you everything's alive. Now we know that we've got good power here, here, and here, and the cable's all good, and the unit is coming up. After, I don't know, sometimes it's 30 seconds, something like that, you'll see this guy play a little tune and show you a little graphic of the FeverWarn icon graphic go across the screen. Sometimes it takes 20 seconds, sometimes it takes 45 seconds. It's sort of a gamble. I mean, you don't know when it's going to come up. But in our case, there it is right now. And you'll see the logo fly across the screen. I'm not sure if you can see it in this video or not. But so now we're going to wait a little bit. And the next thing we'll see is a little please wait wheel that goes around and around that tells us that it's loading. It's starting to load up this application. Once that's done, the screen will flash a couple of times, just like that. And within 5 or 10 seconds, it should turn yellow and say loading. And there it is. It says loading across the bottom. And the application is loading, and it's checking its sensors and doing all that kind of housekeeping sort of thing. And as soon as that's done, that yellow screen will go away, and you'll get the blue screen. And that's the final screen that says we're up and we're sensing. And that's it right there. Kind of blue-purple screen. It says FeverWarn. And across the bottom says ready to scan. Okay, so that's it. We know that everything is now working. To make sure that the scanner itself is working and all the sensors are good, we'll just take the back of our hand, stick it a couple of inches underneath the sensor here. If it turns green, it says go, makes that noise, everything's good, and your sensor is ready to be installed. We're going to do other videos on if you have a FW250, you'll need to onboard that to the MachineSense, what we call the crystal ball cloud, and so all your scans can go up there and sit in the cloud. And there's some other adjustments and things like that. We might touch on that as well. But you know, at this point, all your basic installation is done. Okay, and if anything didn't go like I say it should go in this, or it did go in this video, please call our tech support people. They love to hear from the customers, and if anything's wrong, they want to know it, because they love to give the engineers a hard time. So give them a call if anything's not right. Okay, so that's it. This is AutoDoc for MachineSense. See you later.